Let's talk to Aidan Bishop. He is the chairman of BigDish. Aidan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about the company itself. Can you elaborate on what the company does?
Yeah, we're a yield management platform for restaurants. So one of our hashtags is Dine Smarter. So we're trying to create a smarter dining experience both for consumers and also restaurants as well. So yield management is about dynamic pricing. So it's charging different prices at different times for the same product. And it's nothing new that we're doing here. So yield management was introduced by American Airlines in the 1970s when they realized when an aeroplane takes off with empty seats, no money is made. And they introduced this revenue optimization strategy and charging different prices for different seats. And it transformed the way airline seats were sold. And the hotel industry quickly followed suit, the same thing with hotel rooms. And BigDish is effectively a bet on that yield management will change the way restaurant pricing is done.
Okay, so it's 11:30. I'm walking down Soho, fancy a bit of lunch. Take the app. Is it going to give me flashing signs? Oh my goodness gracious me, this fantastic restaurant. I can have 3 courses for a tenner.
Well, we haven't got it to say, oh goodness gracious me just yet.
Right.
But basically all you can do is you can search, say the time of day, you say, right, I want to dine at 11:30, for example, and you can see by cuisine choice, by restaurant, in terms of geographical proximity to where you are, and you can see what seats are available and what the pricing is going to be. It's not just about 11:30. Some people think, oh, well, it's just 11:30. So I used to be a partner in a restaurant, and one thing I noticed was that even in the busiest times, there's still empty tables.
Right.
And nobody likes walking into a restaurant when you can see empty tables.
Yep.
So we find that restaurants also make seats available at like 6 o'clock, 6:30 or 8 o'clock, or lunchtimes. There's a great steak restaurant that we have on the app, fantastic, very expensive, but their lunchtimes is pretty much empty. So you can go in there and you can get up to 50% off on some really expensive aged steaks, which I did a couple of weeks ago. And so there's just something there for everybody. And it's a no-brainer, really.
And in terms of, this fascinates me because I love going to restaurants. How many restaurants are signed up? Is that an easy sell? Are you getting all the brands involved in this?
We got in Asia. We got about, I think it's about 500 or so restaurants that are there. So what we try to do is we cannot make a restaurant that's not popular because we don't cook the food, right? What we're trying to do is optimize the revenue for them. So we've got independent restaurants. We've got some well-known chains. Into the UK, it's mostly independent restaurants at the moment, and that's really what our strategy is around the UK. That we want to have, a good platform of independent restaurants, because those are the restaurants that really, don't have the budgets for marketing and so forth, and we can add lots of value to them.
So you are disruptive.
It's a disruptive space. It absolutely is a disruptive space. And what we're looking to disrupt is the old-fashioned way of like dining discount cards. So for example, you look in the UK's biggest dining discount card is Taste Card. It was sold for over £100 million a couple of years ago. And a consumer buys or is given a card and then they can go to a restaurant. The challenge we've seen, and this is the opportunity for us, is that it is not necessarily intuitive to the consumer, because many times, you can't go on a Friday, you can't go on a Saturday, or you must call in advance. So BigDish, 3 taps and you have an instantly confirmed reservation. With Taste Card and the restaurants can't really control and shape the traffic.
Yep.
So with BigDish, the restaurant can choose the deals they want to do, at the times of day and the seats they make available. So they know when they're busy or not busy, and we can shape the traffic. So it's a lot more friendly towards the restaurant. So our belief is we think dining discount cards are going to become obsolete within a few years. I mean, the world is moving away from paper vouchers, discount cards, to this digital way of life. And so we think BigDish is going to disrupt that way of the dining discount card market. We think it's a lot smarter and friendlier than the voucher type market, the daily deal type market. So, whether it remains to be seen whether this is going to become, sort of mainstream over the long term. But so far, all the signs are very positive.
And in terms of the app, so I basically sign up for the app. Is that free of charge to me as a potential?
It is.
Okay, so that's a straightforward part.
Yep.
And is this purely London?
No, we're not in London. So we started off in Asia. We were in 3 Asian cities. We came into the UK through an acquisition of a company called Table Pouncer.
Yeah.
Table Pouncer was operating predominantly in Bournemouth. Bournemouth, a population of 200,000 people, 10,000 people a month are being seated in Bournemouth through the Table Pouncer app, which was really the rationale behind coming into the UK, buying Table Pouncer, and expanding around the UK initially in smaller towns and cities. So this month we are launching in
Bath, I saw that.
We've chosen Bath. Why did we choose Bath? It was a city that Table Pouncer used to be in, so it made sense for us to go back there, get a few of the restaurants back on board, and it's quite reasonably close to Bournemouth as well. And really the goal of this initial launch is to have an early adopter of restaurants, make sure the restaurant experience is good, make sure the user experience for customers is good, and to make sure that our tech integration around the UK works well. And as soon as we've done that, we are then going to migrate all of the Bournemouth restaurants onto the BigDish platform. Table Pouncer will be then fully rebranded as BigDish, and then we're going to expand around the southwest. And following that, we'll start to announce how we're going to roll out around the UK. But the ambition is to be all over the UK.
Right. Okay, well, that's pretty exciting. Now, obviously, investors are always desperate for news and news flow. What can they expect in the next 6 months to a year?
Look, I think it's going to be great. I mean, I've been absolutely amazed at how people have, sort of taken to what we're doing, and everybody likes to eat out, and everybody likes a deal, so it's quite easy to understand.
I love a deal.
And what's been great is that I've seen on some of these stock forums, people have actually gone to try out Table Pouncer. So for me, every private investor is a potential customer of BigDish. So we are looking to engage with everybody to get them to use BigDish. So in terms of news flow, obviously the Bath launch, that being successful is important to us, and that's the news is going to be around that. Then there's the Bournemouth migration, our wider plans around the southwest, and then coming for our complete rollout in the UK. So Tastecard has 6,000 restaurants or thereabouts as part of its dining club in the UK. There's 6,000 potential restaurants in the UK that are BigDish partner restaurants. And so that's the ambition. That's the news flow.
Okay, so the $1 million question, 3 reasons to consider buying the shares, put them in my portfolio.
3 reasons to consider. Well, look, we're not for everybody. This is we are a high risk type of stock. Any time you invest into early stage disruptive technology, it is a bet. It can be very volatile. So if you don't like that, don't invest. So a reason to invest is, look, yield management transformed the airline industry. It changed the hotel industry, and if it changes the restaurant industry over the long term, and we are one of the pioneers in doing that, then hey, this is a very good bet. You look at some of the other food tech startups. I mean, I remember when Just Eat went out, people said, "Oh, it's never going to work. It's never going to work." And look what it is today.
Yeah.
Does it mean we're going to be? Too early to tell. Can't say. But look, I think it's a really hot space we're in right now. It's exciting, it's disruptive, and if those things tick your box, put it in the portfolio.
Well, I guess as well that lots of restaurants are actually closing, aren't they? And it's a really desperate place, the high street at the moment. So maybe this is going to actually add some value to the high street.
Yeah, look, I mean, you've got to look at why some of these restaurants are closing as well. I mean, some of them are brands that were backed by private equity, and they had to grow, at all costs, and possibly didn't make all the right choices, and now have had to, cut back. But I think there's a restaurant industry. There's always restaurants opening. There's always restaurants closing. Yeah. So there's always a market for us. The great thing is, in the Table Pouncer restaurants in Bournemouth, some of them have been with them for many years. So which is a great sign. So. We think we've got the right product at the right time, and for both the restaurant and to the consumer. So,
final question: what's the biggest bargain you've had so far?
The biggest bargain I had so far was in the Smith and Butcher Steakhouse in Manila, where steaks run up to about 150 pounds a steak, and I got 50% off there a couple of weeks ago.
On that note,
and I didn't feel bad about it at all.
Well, I feel bloody bad. I wasn't there. Aidan, as always, nice to see you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.